So I'm always just relatively generally curious about where people are from and what their journeys are. I will be sharing with you guys today a little bit of my journey in the media space and specifically on the business side. And I also have some slides and some just general advice on how to get a job in the media business and in the sports business in general. Hopefully that's of interest. And I think what you should think about this is that this is one path. These are some suggestions that are pretty specific to the sports media business, but at the same time, I think they probably relate to any job that you would ever want to get. There's some pretty general advice into how to break into this industry, but this industry, the sports business industry, is not that altogether different from many other industries out there. And then at any time during the presentation that you have like a question or you want something specifically answered, if it's a quick one, we can definitely dive into it, but I am leaving time at the end for longer form questions or bigger picture things that you guys want to discuss at the end of the presentation. So I'll go through the presentation part of it relatively quickly. Journalism degree, class of '93, University of Colorado. Yes, I am that old. At University of Colorado, they actually don't have a journalism degree anymore. They changed it to mass communications. I think it's probably a sign of the times, but also a lot of universities out there are really concentrating on how to train students to get into the new media world. And back in the 90s when I was in college, it was still all about like, how do you become a reporter? How do you become a writer? The specific track that I took at University of Colorado was how to get into TV production. And it was very specific, kind of like a technical degree. That all those skills are taught at many universities, and I know here as well. I think what you'll see in my presentation and kind of my advice is to approach the market in a much more holistic manner and kind of try to understand the motivations of the businesses out there and then how you can be a part of that. So here's just when I got out of University of Colorado, just real quick, wanted to be in the television business. So I went out to Los Angeles to be in the television business and produced a bunch of shows for weird networks that aren't on the air anymore, like Speed Vision, and started writing scripts for television shows. And one of those scripts got in the hands of, and I was pitching the script to make the television show at MTV. I was pitching it at a network called Outdoor Life. Just went around New York and Los Angeles. I was living in Los Angeles, but would fly out to New York frequently to do pitches on my own dime, and pitched an idea for a reality TV show in Squaw Valley, California, about what was going on there in skiing. And a company that owned Outdoor Life Network also owned Ski Magazine, and they said, why don't you make a magazine out of this? So sounded good to me, sounded like a job, sounded like a fun job. So I took that. I think the biggest takeaway from that is always be writing and always be creating something. Think about businesses that you want to start and write them down. Think about ideas that you have, write them down. If you really want to be in this business and you really want to be a part of the sports business, there is never a shortage of ideas. So always just be tracking those down and put some time and effort into that. So Freeze Magazine was launched. We were later acquired by Transworld Media, which made snowboarding and skateboarding magazines. So they acquired us, and I became head of marketing and sales development at Transworld. Again, just continuing to go with ideas and continuing to bring things forward. working my way up the ladder. During a 5-year span, Transworld was acquired by Times Mirror, which was the Los Angeles Times, still is the Los Angeles Times. Then by Tribune, but sold the magazine. They sold the magazine division 5 months later, and then we were bought by Time Warner, and then AOL bought Time Warner, and then Time Inc. then bought the magazine division out of AOL Time Warner. So
Who's going to buy them?
who's going to buy Time Inc? Time Inc. Time Inc. I think is owned by ABG now, which is Authentic Brands Group. That's basically a testament to how the media business that was born, at the turn of the century in the 1920s, rose to prominence throughout the 80s and 90s, and then fell off a cliff as soon as everybody started consuming media through their computers and their phones. So Time Inc., which used to be used to profit a couple $2 billion a quarter, I think was sold for $50 million to a company that licensed T-shirts mostly. So yeah, things can change. I wanted to do another startup, so I was like hire number 20 at a network called CSTV, College Sports Television. Moved to New York City because that's where the epicenter of this business is. It's all in New York City, and we did some really fun stuff that I'll kind of talk about a little bit later at College Sports Television's very innovative, of the last successful television network, still on the air, all about sports. And we were bought by CBS, so I got a chance to work for CBS Sports. I worked for a woman named Joanne Ross, who's probably the most influential and powerful woman in advertising sales in all of media. She was an incredible mentor to me, and it was an honor to work for her. Also worked for Les Moonves, Sean McManus, kind of some titans in the media space, and just a great opportunity to do that. Then got a call from a headhunter and said, "I can't believe that you exist. You grew up in a ski town. You understand skiing and snowboarding. You worked at Transworld, but now you're in New York City and you're working for one of the largest sports media organizations in the world at CBS. And you also grew up ski racing. We'd like you to come out and be the CMO of US Ski and Snowboard." Kind of jumped at the opportunity to be able to raise my kids in a ski town, because I was raised in a ski town. And took that opportunity, got to work with a lot of really incredible people and Jeremy. And it was a great, including Jeremy. And it was an incredible experience. And I'll talk about some of the stuff that we did there as well. But it was a really different job for me, but at the same time, and I walked away from financial security, job track that was gonna take me to the, incredible places. I walked away from really a incredible company that treated me incredibly well. To return to take a chance on something that didn't have all these assurances. This is a nonprofit. This is a very successful for-profit. But again, it was like a chance to do something different and to basically do something that was going to be a challenge for me. So I jumped at that. Had a great run there, and left there now about 4 or 5 years ago now. Saw another opportunity to start. There were some guys here in Salt Lake that were starting a professional rugby league, and they needed a lot of help. And there was 3 of us running the entire league. So making the teams, figuring out how those franchise agreements would work, figuring out where the games would be shown on television, figuring out who would want to sponsor it, figuring out how to sell tickets, the whole thing. It was an awesome project. It was again. It was a huge challenge, but an opportunity to start something from scratch. So I jumped at it, and then COVID happened, and everything went to what. But kind of persevered out of there. And now I run a consulting business that with events now back and sports at the top of the heap in media there's a tremendous opportunities that come my way every day. My main clients are X Games, FIBA, which is international basketball, the tournament in Paris, the Olympic tournament in Paris, and some event stuff. And then I'm also pretty attached to 2034, which is when the Olympics will return to Utah. So for this industry and for this state, there's a tremendous opportunity over the next 9.5 years. If you want to be involved with the Olympics, there's great opportunities. If you want to be involved in all things that are happening in sports in this state, incredible opportunities. There's an NHL team now. There's an owner who's spent a lot of money and is going to continue to spend a lot of money. There's the whole question mark of what the Millers are going to do next, and Major League Baseball is coming here or not. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity in this business, in this state, over the next 9.5 years. So where do you start, or how do you do it? I think for me, like, my career track is probably not a lot different than a lot of people that I know and colleagues, but one of the things that's probably a little different about me is that what's important to me is legacy. Is that people will say, oh, I know that guy. He's the redheaded guy with the weird last name, but he's also did this, or he did that, right? I never wanted to be a cog in the wheel. I wanted to be kind of like known for doing stuff from the start of my career until today. I'm still working on this. So again, started the first ski magazine dedicated to free skiing. Actually coined that term, free skiing. One word, no dash, and ing. First dedicated event to free skiing, started the US Free Skiing Open in Vail. First cable television network for college sports. I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to be part of that launch. And then while we were there, we were the first company to stream the NCAA tournament. Obviously, everybody watches, most of the people watch the tournament on their computers now. We were the first to do that. Some incredible, crazy stories about that. The whole thing actually crashed 15 minutes into the first game. And it was very stressful, but we pulled it off. First launch SLCC Game Day show. This was before Game Day on ESPN. There was no, I was all into action sports. There was no collegiate championships for action sports, so started that. There's a bunch of big air events that happened in free skiing and snowboarding, but nobody had ever taken it to the most storied baseball and most storied stadium in the world, in my opinion, Fenway. So we did a big air contest in Fenway. The Alpine World Championships came to America it's been in America for 3 times now, all at Vail. But we were able to create the most watched Alpine World Championships in history, largely through some media deals that I did. Talk about the rugby league, and then FIBA, which is the International Basketball Association, has had a very big success in men's basketball and has treated women's basketball kind of as like a thing that they had to do because they were sanctioning body for both men's and women's basketball. And so in a partnership that I did with Google, I brought tremendous economic value from Google, a lot of money, to FIBA, and made FIBA spend all of that money only in women's basketball. They couldn't spend a dime of it in men's basketball. And it was a great deal, great partnership, worked out for everybody, and something that I'm incredibly proud of. And then also, just recently, not on this slide, when the 2034 announcement was made, when Salt Lake and Utah won the games, My production company was streaming the event and the party that we were having at Washington Square Park out in front of City Hall. And they were able to take a live shot of that crowd at 3:30 a.m. local time, which was probably about 6,000 people. We were hoping for 500, and we got 5,000. And they were able to take that shot live into the presentation in Paris that was being made to the International Olympic Committee, show that shot, and Governor Cox said, look at the enthusiasm and energy for the Olympics in Utah, paraphrasing, you have to give this to us. And that shot really was a key part of his presentation. So proud there. So this is my two jobs now are I run a company. I run my own consulting company that I call Sports Marketing Collective. It's just me. And then I also have a partnership with an event production company called Dragonfly. And what I'm able to do is service a bunch of clients. And instead of it just being me, if I have big projects that need crew and staff and I need help on these projects, I can use Dragonfly Media to execute those, like the 2034 announcement most recently, or like World Cup Biathlon, where I served as the lead television producer, which just means that I made the budget and organized the whole thing, and then was able to hire out the entire crew. We had a crew of 60 some odd people for a week, and we were able to staff that crew at the World Cup Biathlon with 95% Utah employees. So typically, like when we did the 2002 Olympics, most of the people were not from Utah that worked on the venues and worked on the technical aspects of presenting those sports. This time around in 2034, we should be able to hire almost all Utah people, which is a great thing for Utah. These are just some of the clients and projects that I oversee. And this part of it, back to this whole thing about how legacy is important to me. I donate my time for free a lot, and I get a lot out of it personally. I also make a lot of connections and I meet a lot of people. So I use it for business networking as well. But it's a nice little collection of the good feelings, right, that you get from donating your time and trying to make a difference in either the community you live in or in something that you're passionate about. So I am the vice chairman of Park City Ski and Snowboard. I'm on the board of directors of the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame, and I coach lacrosse probably 10, 12 hours a week at least, year round. So again, if you can give time to a community or to a cause or to something that you believe in, you'll get a lot out of it. All right, so here's the sports marketing business. There are a bunch of different career tracks in this business. The first we'll talk about is in sports media. So this is like CBS, NBC, ESPN, the worldwide leader. But this also goes for like A&E, Scripps, Food Network, you name it. So there's the editorial creative side, which usually ties in with programming. This can be television, this could be website, this can be whatever. This is like if you're a writer and you want to write about stuff, or you have ideas for various leagues or organizations, you want to jump into this or you want to jump into this. There's the technical piece of it, so like how websites are made, how television shows are made, how live television shows are made. Every single Jazz game, right? Every single Jazz game has about 50 people that are working in a TV truck to present that game. There's 40 home games a year. Now with NHL, there's 80 home games a year between basketball and hockey. 60 people are working on presenting those things on a nightly basis. That's a full-time, year-round job.
I heard a rumor that the Jazz and our new hockey team are gonna have a streaming service of their own.
Yep.
Is that true?
It's totally true. It actually already exists. SEG.
SEG?
Smith Entertainment Group.
All right.
Smith Entertainment Group is, think about it as ESPN for Utah.
Okay.
And there are two anchor